Hello friends, and welcome to the Hanged Man in the Moon. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Well, friends, if you are a returning visitor, you probably noticed from the thumbnail for this video that this is one of my series of videos on reading with playing cards. Yes? And in the first couple of videos, I gave you the story of how I came to this place, how I broke through my resistance to reading playing cards, because there was a lot of resistance around that. And you know that I've already done 5 videos on reading playing cards. The first one was a general overview, looking at the suits, looking at number. The second video was on the diamonds, right? Then the third was on the clubs, the fourth was on the hearts, and then the fifth video was on the spades, and that was last week. And so for this video, I decided that we're going to explore reading spreads together. And remember, we're exploring this together. You are learning along with me. So I'm bringing along what I have learned so far and presenting that to you. That makes sense, yes? Now, we've already looked at some spreads, if you recall. I gave you a way of reading 3 cards together, even if you don't know the detailed information for each card, right? Just by looking at suits. I gave you a couple of simple ways of reading for yes-no questions. Then I also gave you a more complex way of reading with yes-no questions, cutting aces. That's in one of the videos earlier. I also talked about timing in the previous video, how we can lay a card for timing or pull timing information from the deck to add to a spread. But this time we really are going to just look at spreads. Yes? And so I'll turn down the camera and we will lay out 3 different kinds of spreads. The ones I'm anticipating doing are a simple 3-card spread. Then I will do a 5-card spread, which will give us a little bit more information. And we'll probably pull advice cards. I'll show you about that. And then I will probably conclude with a 9-card spread, which is similar to the picture frame spread or the letterbox spread or the just 9-card spread from Lenormand. And we might pull a 10th card just for funsies. Yeah, so that's my plan. I will turn down the camera, but before I turn down the camera, I would like to say thank you. I want to say thank you to all of you who hit the thumbs up button. I want to say thank you to all of you who have subscribed to this channel. You have helped us increase our community. You've helped other people find us by doing those things. I'm also grateful to those of you who comment on the videos. I'm very, very grateful. I love hearing from you. Friends, strangers, everyone. Positive feedback is wonderful. Negative feedback or helpful criticism is all accepted and appreciated here. So thank you for everybody who comments. Thank you. Are you all ready? Let's see what happens. Yeah, here we go. I'm gonna turn down the camera right now. Welcome back, friends, and please cross your fingers for me. My confidence right now is a little low. So let me just show you. This is the deck that I carry around with me in my backpack. It's the one I got for under $2 US here in Korea. I got this little bag one time when I was flying from Turkey to Italy on a connecting flight, and so this is my bag for my playing cards that I keep in my backpack. And this is the plastic case that the cards came in, and these are the plastic cards that came in the plastic case. So this is my knockaround deck, right? This is I don't care what happens to it because I can replace it for next to nothing at any time that I want from a corner store, right? So this is the deck. We're going to do 3 readings. The first is going to be a simple 3-card reading, and I will probably choose a 4th card for advice. The first question, we always want to start with a question, right? So for a 3-card reading, I thought something simple, not dire need to be right kind of question. Yeah, so let's pick something about travel. Okay, so we're going to do a question about travel. Maybe Cynthia is traveling to Italy. Okay, so Cynthia is traveling to Italy, and she wants to know, how will her trip be? Yeah, will she have a good trip, a bad trip, a difficult trip, a fun trip? I don't want to do a yes/no question, like, will I have fun? But how will her trip be? So we have a more open-ended question. So let me show you how easy this deck is to shuffle. This little plastic deck. It's cheap, but dang, considering it's plastic, it shuffles like a dream. Yeah? I'll do 3 riffle shuffles. How Cynthia, our imagined Cynthia, how will her trip be when she goes to Italy? How will her trip be? We'll do 1 more shuffle. Yeah. The cards are standard bridge-sized cards. Yeah. Nothing special at all. They're nice and small, but not too small. They're not mini. The plastic has just enough grip so they don't go flying all over and off into space when I do an overhand shuffle. And if you know me, you know my overhand shuffle causes cards to go into the stratosphere. So here we go. Let's cut the deck and let's read for Cynthia. How will her trip to Italy be? We've got, okay, now I'm not going to be reading with reversals today. Okay, so let's see if this works. Let's see. Okay, so Ace of Clubs, 3 of Spades. Okay, so we start off with something positive, somewhat positive, something pretty negative, and then, 7 of Hearts. Okay, so remember that first reading I told you about maybe 4 videos ago? If we just look at the suits, what do we get? Now, we got 1 very positive card at the end. We've got 1 very negative card in the center and 1 positive, negative, neutral card at the beginning. So there's going to be some, maybe just reading suits, there's going to be some work to do there will be a problem that will arise, but it can be solved without any effort. Right? Remember, work, problem, happiness are the basic ideas of the suits. But let's look at something more specific, right? So the Ace of Clubs, right? Just full disclosure, I have my cheat sheet off to the side just in case I need to refer to it. But Ace of Clubs, this is a new opportunity, right? There's a new goal, going to a new place. I'm assuming from this card, it looks to me like this is a new journey for Cynthia. Yeah, I doubt that she's been there before. So this is a new opportunity for her. This is a new goal or a new thing for her to explore. And yet there are going to be problems. Maybe not big problems, but it looks like there are going to be some little problems that will build up, and she might get interference from a third party. Maybe she's going with a partner, I don't know that, but there might be a third person who is going to be causing problems on her trip. Or small problems are going to build up. Now the 7 of Hearts, remember 7s are problem cards, right? But the 7 of Hearts can be problems being solved. So what I see here is, so this trip, it's going to be a good opportunity for you. There will be small problems that might build up and be irritating. There might be a person who throws a wrench into your works, but you'll be able to work out those problems. And not with a lot of work, just there'll be a natural solution to the problems that arise. So it should be a good trip, right? Now let's see if I can pull a card for advice. And that card for advice is this one. What is that? So the Three of Clubs is things that grow. So it could be growing plants, or it could be a garden. It could be gardening, but I don't think that's what we're looking at. It's the steady and practical steps towards a goal. So what this card, I think, is advising Cynthia to do is to be practical, be organized, do the steps required to prepare for the trip, and everything should work out. Does that make sense? Okay, so Cynthia's reading for her trip to Italy. Yes, moving right along. No, I didn't do any questions about timing because I assume that because of her question, Cynthia knows when she's going to be going, right? Because she's asking about her trip. She didn't ask, when can I go on a trip to Italy? She asked, how will my trip to Italy be? So we assume that she's got plans already in the works, right? Okay, so now we're going to do another question. But before I shuffle, I want to get my question in mind. The question is about relationships, and I'm going to do a 5-card spread. The positions of a 5-card spread for this reading is a 3-card spread in the center, and it can be past, present, future, or it could be read as a story. I'll decide on that before. Okay. So I'll decide on that before I lay the cards. The card on the bottom here, it's going to be in the shape of a cross. The card on the bottom is what not to do. The card on the top is what to do. And depending on the spread, I might pull another card for advice. And I want a relationship question. I want a question about communication. Yeah, communication problems are pretty common for relationships, right? So maybe Tom is coming to me and is asking how he can improve the communication with his partner. Now, Tom wants to know how he can improve communication with his partner. There aren't any specific problems in the relationship that he feels, except he thinks that they could improve their communication. So, now, Tom, before I lay the spread, or before I even shuffle, I want to consider who is Tom in the deck. What is the significator card for Tom? And the significator card for Tom will be let's say he's what kind of person is he? He's creative, so maybe he's a heart. He's young, so maybe he's the Jack of Hearts. Okay, so a young, creative person, Jack of Hearts. Does that make sense? So, just in case the Jack of Hearts appears, we know that that's going to be Tom, probably. Okay, so let's shuffle. I'll just do a quick shuffle here, yeah? I'm not going to go through my normal process. My normal process is a 12-stage shuffle, and I'm not going to take the time to do that. But I do want to reorganize the cards here for this question about Tom's relationship. How can Tom improve communication in his relationship? Tom is a Jack of Hearts. He's young, he's creative, maybe he's a little sensitive. Maybe he is intuitive. That might be why he's... Whoa. See what I'm talking about? Cards flying? Even this deck, I can get them to fly. Maybe he is... what? Oh, yeah, intuitive. So that's maybe why he seeks out advice from a card reader like me. So, Tom... you want to know about your relationship, how you can improve your communication. You are the Jack of Hearts for this reading. Let's cut the deck. And let's go. So, we lay the 3 cards first. So, 1, the 10 of diamonds. 2, the King of Spades. 3, the 8 of clubs. Now, this is what not to do. 10 of spades, okay. Actually, let's move this all down just a little bit. And then, the what to do is the 3 of diamonds. Okay, that's very interesting. Because remember, the diamonds are money, but they're also thoughts. And communication as well. So let's start off with this. We see that we don't have Jack on the table right now. Now, if Tom. If Tom is a gay man, for example, or a male-presenting non-binary person, I don't know. Maybe might want to ask: is your partner a older man who might be somehow related to either the court system, or are you in love with a detective or a policeman or something like that? I might ask that. Or a mortician or somebody in the death field. So let's assume that Tom is not in love with a mortician. Could this also be a surgeon? Okay, let's say Tom is not in love with a mortician. So, what are we going to do here? Let's do past, present. We're doing past, present, future. Yeah? Past. You've had good communication in the past. Yeah? The 10 is the fulfillment. It's the ending. Right? You've had good fortune. Yeah? You've had a wealth of communication in the past. The present, since this is not a person right now, it's the power to do harm, to do evil, to hurt. Right now, there are times when, and maybe more times than you'd like to admit, the communication that you are engaging in has the power to hurt the other person. Now, some or much of your communication is, whether you know it or not, damaging to the other person and therefore to your relationship. But the future tells us that you can work it out. Yeah? Now, the 8 of clubs, it's meetings, but it's also thinking about and talking about your priorities, talking about your goals, your aims, talking about where you want the relationship to go. Yeah? So, getting together, talking about the future of where your relationship is going and how to work out your relationship and what your priorities are together will benefit the communication. Because remember, we're asking, how can you benefit the communication, or how can you improve the communication in your relationship? Now, what not to do? 10s are endings, right? So, don't get caught up in thoughts of failure and that nothing is going to work out and that everything is violence and accidents, and don't get caught up in endings of your relationship, right? Do this, the 3 of diamonds. What is that? It is, it could be increased money, but the 3 of diamonds is also scattered mind. So what you want to do is pay attention to when your mind is scattered. And maybe it's that scattered mind that turns you or your communication into a weapon. Does that make sense? So let's see if we can get some advice. Yeah? This doesn't seem like okay, maybe we have a question about this. So when should we have this meeting? Okay, let's do that. When should we have this meeting about talking about our priorities and our goals with the relationship, about moving forward? Right? When should we do that? So how do we find out that when? We look for the Jack of Hearts and see what the Jack of Hearts is facing. Remember that? We talked about that in the previous video on timing. So that's the Jack of Diamonds. Here's the Jack of Hearts. Okay, so the Jack of Hearts is facing the Ace of Diamonds. So this is timing. The Ace of Diamonds. What do we know about the diamonds? We know that diamonds are... Okay, so this could be the first week of spring, right? Which would be... So I don't think that's what we're talking about here. What is timing for this? The diamonds also give us the idea of minutes and hours, right? So probably not 1 minute, but the timing for this conversation, if possible, should be quick. Like, start talking about it in an hour from the time of this reading. Right? So maybe after, when we're done with this reading, maybe start with a message. Let's say, get a message off to your partner saying, I'd love to talk to you. If they can't answer the phone at that time, let's talk about where we're going with this relationship. Does that make sense? So if after this reading, if you can't and you don't feel ready to talk immediately, at least reach out to your partner and say, I'd love to talk to you about where we are going, because I really love you and us. And now, of course, I'm assuming that Tom here wants the relationship to continue. Now, if it's possible that maybe Tom does not want the relationship to continue, that might be an entirely different conversation, right? Since I don't actually have Tom here, I can't ask this, but the assumption was that Tom was interested in continuing the relationship he's in. Does that make sense? Okay, so that is the 5-card spread. Now, again, this could be past, present, future, but this could just be the story of, generally your communication is very full. It's frequent. There's plenty of communication, but sometimes, if not a lot of the time, it's a little antagonistic, aggressive. You cause problems, maybe hurt each other, whether you are aware of it or not. And so it's best if you talk about where you are going and how you can improve together. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's put these cards back into the pile. And now I'm going to show you the 9-card spread. Now, if you've seen my Lenormand spreads, or actually probably almost everybody else's Lenormand spreads on YouTube, you will know that there is something called a 9-card spread, a letterbox spread, a picture frame spread. There are a window frame spread. There are many, many names for this. But it's a very standard spread, especially for Lenormand, but some people use it for Terre de Marseille as well. Some people use it for many other purposes. So, let's see. We're going to do a 9-card spread. This spread is about, let's see, a very general spread about jobs. Yeah? The person wants to know, where is his career going, or her career going. I'm just going to go with his for now. Call me a sexist pig, but I'm just going to go with his. Who is he? He is a man over 30, so let's make him a king. Which king? Let's say he is a professional man. So that would make him the King of Diamonds. Okay, so let's put him as the king of diamonds. So if the king of diamonds comes up in the spread, we will take that as an indication that he is part of his own story. If not, we're looking just at a really general picture. Does that make sense? Okay, so let me shuffle the deck. First, I'd just like to do a quick riffle, and then we will start really shuffling. Like I said, I'm not doing my full shuffle because... Oh, shoot. Well, now see, these cards are making me a liar, right? I was just telling you how easy these cards are to shuffle. And suddenly, I've gotten a little bit nervous, I guess. Maybe the sleeves, maybe the limited space. But yeah, I've gotten a little bit nervous, and so cards are starting to fly on me. So what is going on with, let's give him a name. Let's call him Chris, yeah? What is going on with Chris's career? Yeah, Chris is older than 30 years old. Oh, I've got the jokers in here, just so you know. Chris is over 30 years old, and he's a professional man, too. And he wants to know what's going on with his career path. A very general question. And it's those general questions that I like to use the 9-card spread with, because we get more information, right? Okay, friends, here we go, the last shuffle. Now there are several, okay, good. So there are several ways to do this, to lay a 9-card spread. I could decide on a card to be the significator in the center, and then search for the card, and then lay out the spread. If you want to see me do that, I can show you that in a different video. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll show you how to do that with playing cards. Another way is to, because we've already decided on the significator, I could just go through the deck and find the significator. Oh, that's not so good. Find the significator in the deck and do the same thing. Now, I said that Chris is the king of diamonds, so I'd lay the spread around the king of diamonds. And I can show you how to do that in a different video as well. Another way to do this is to choose every nth card. And when I say nth, insert your own number for n. For example, I know people who like the number 9, so they choose every 9th card. I know people who like the number 8, so they choose every 8th card or every 7th card. Does that make sense? So you then lay the spread. I'm just going to cut the deck and lay the spread from there. Yes, I'm just going to go in order. I'm not going to do any fancy laying. I'm just going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2. Okay, this should be more closer to the center. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Chris has not appeared in his own spread yet. 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so there's only one person in this spread, right? So the very first thing I do is look to see if there are any people here. The first person we see is the Queen of Hearts. So I might ask Chris if there is a woman who is, or a female presenting person who has his best interests at heart. Maybe a loving mother, maybe a female person in his family that might be related to his career, or maybe it is a sensitive woman, or a creative woman, or an artistic woman, a woman who is emotional or intuitive, an intuitive woman. I might ask him if there were any of these people in his life that might be related to this question. And let's say that no, there is no person that he can think of. So I would say, okay, well, later if you think of that person, insert that person into your reading. But we're going to read this card not as a person, but rather as the truth about something. Okay? So, the next step I want to do is look at the positivity or negativity of the spread. For 9 cards, we've got 4 hearts. They're pretty powerful. We've got 3 spades. They're pretty negative, but there are more hearts than spades. We've got 2 clubs, which are less negative than the spades. They're neutral. So I'd say that this spread is we're moving towards something good, but it's going to take some work to get there. Does that make sense? Now, when we look at this spread, we read this spread in several different ways. We've got the past, the present, the future. We've got what's on Chris's mind, what he's experiencing in the world around him, and then either what's in his subconscious or what's below the surface. And then we can read corners, and we can read the diamond here. So corners would be the 5 of diamonds, the 7 of hearts, the 6 of spades, the 4 of clubs. And then the diamond would be the 7 of spades, the 5 of clubs, the queen of hearts, and the ace of hearts, right? So that's a lot of information. Let's start off with the past. Let's go from past to present first. So the past, and the past could be the very, very recent past even, but the past is not good, right? So we start off with physical problems, yeah? The 5 of spades is problems with the body. It could be addictions. It could be accidents. It could be disease. It could be stress. Maybe it could be okay. So I've gotten my key in here. Yeah. He's taken on. It can also be taking on too much work. So in the past, which could be 1 second before. Well, probably not that close to the present, but still, the very recent past. Could be up to yesterday, right? He has taken on too much work, which has led to what? Which has led to problems. 7 of spades, it's problems on problems upon problems. It could be hidden things. And I think that's where we're going to go, yeah? So, he's taken on too much work. He's been too active, too much burden at work. Not merely working hard, but overwhelmed with the things to be done. And because of that, maybe, there are things that are hidden from him at work that he does not know, that are unclear. Now, the 6 of spades is what? It could be problems with journeys, right? But it's also clearing away things. It's getting rid of the unwanted objects or also aspects of life. But it's also abandoning, right? So there are hidden things from him, and there's a sense of abandonment, of walking away. Maybe it's the desire to walk away from all that's happening right now. Maybe he wants to get out. Maybe. Let's see what's happening in the present. So the present starts off with the 5 of clubs, which is what? The 5 of clubs, it could be sports, it could be leisure, it could be recreation, it could be entertainment, but it could be handcrafts. It's also putting your nose to the grindstone, which is different from being overworked, right? This one, the present, he still feels like he has to work hard, be diligent, accomplish a lot of stuff. The 3 of hearts, okay. I forgot one step in this reading. We'll go back to that. Okay, so the Three of Hearts is the growth, little bits, small growth of joy. It can also be fertility. It can be, of course, pregnancy and having children. That doesn't seem to be part of this reading. It could be a third wheel or a rival. Okay, so he's working hard, but maybe now all of the hearts are not always positive, right? There could be a rival, a rival interest. Even though things might seem like they are getting a little bit better bit by bit, there could still be a rival here that could be part of this, and we'll get there in a moment. And so he needs to look at the truth about at the truth, right? So the Queen of Hearts is the truth about an emotional matter, but she's also just the truth. He's got to take a really clear look at what is going on, especially because we've got some things that are hidden that he doesn't know about. Now, this isn't, we're not saying about, right now, we're not saying that he has to find out the truth. And some of these truths, these hidden things may have been revealed, but he needs to really look at the truth of what's going on. And so the future, we start off with the Four of Clubs, which is stability at work. Yeah? So instead of being overworked, taking on too much work, the future should be or can be stability at work, doing the routine. It might be boring, right? It could be, what do we call that? It's. I'm looking at my cheat sheet because plodding along, that's the word I was looking for. It could be the feeling of just plodding along in the future. But that's going to give you the opportunity for finding a new home at work. And you might even find a new friend at work in the future. And that new friend will do what? Hopefully will not bring emotional problems, but will help you solve the problems that you are facing right now. So you'll either find a new place for your emotional heart at work, or you will find a new friend related to your work, and that person can help you solve the problems that you are facing. That's in the future, right? The thing that I mentioned that I forgot to look at before we dove into the past, present, future is this center card, which is the primary key response to the question, what's going on at work? Well, so what's going on at work for him is maybe interference from a third person. Interference from a rival. Does that make sense? And that because of that interference from a rival, not just having to work hard, but there has been an overwhelming amount of work to do. Right? He's had to take on too much work. And he's felt a stress because of that. Okay, so we're back. We came past, present, future. Now let's look at what's on his mind. What's on his mind is he's got too much to do. And maybe the stress at work can be leading towards addiction in the area of work. He might be addicted to working too hard. Yeah, and he's thinking about having to keep his nose to the grindstone. But interestingly, whereas that should lead to stability, right? These cards are going down. There needs to be some sort of reduction in the amount of work so that it's stable. And maybe it's not as interesting as it has been or as he thinks it can be, but maybe there needs to be a reduction of the stuff he's doing. And what he's experiencing in the world around him is that there are hidden things. Maybe there will be some consultations around what he's thinking about. But there are things, he doesn't know everything, and some of those things might be revealed. And what might be revealed is that there is a rival. But there's a potential for a new friendship to come into the picture, which can solve this problem. If that makes sense. Now, what's going on under the surface is this need to clear out past ideas and past decisions, past things which have become a problem in his life. Now, maybe he's been attached to ideas that need to be cleared out because they don't serve him anymore. An unconscious attachment to doing things a certain way might need to be cleared out, which will lead him to find the truth of what he wants to do, which will solve his problems. Yeah? And now other things that the Seven of Hearts are related to, but I don't think have anything to do with this spread are, okay, so it could give him, okay, I'm sorry. Should I say okay once more? Okay. There could be some luck involved. There could be some chance involved. There could be some synchronicities coming to him from having gotten rid of the things that have bound him down, and facing the truth can open him up to seeing some synchronous possibilities, to getting some good luck. Okay? So, let's look at the corners. Yeah? This rival. This rival needs to be gotten rid of. You need to get rid of this rival from, if you can't get rid of this rival from your area of work, at least from your mind space and your heart, your emotions, to be able to feel the stability that you are going to need and want to progress with the work that you want to do. Yeah? And you need to solve the problem of the rival causing you to have to take on so much work. And it's these hidden things that are making you work so hard. The things that you don't know are what's causing you to work so hard. And yet, the truth shall set you free. Right? The Queen and Ace of Hearts, I think that's what that's saying. The truth shall set you free. Now, maybe we want to see some advice around this, yeah? So, let me just pull the next card and see if there's advice here. Okay, good advice. The Eight of Hearts. What is this telling us? It's telling us to communicate your emotions, to talk about how you feel, to examine how you feel as well. Right? And I'm just going to go to my cheat sheet quickly because I'd like us to wrap this reading up. And the Eight of Hearts is also celebrations, it's drinking festivals. I don't think that's what we're talking about. I think we're talking about really just communicating, thinking about, looking into how you're feeling about the work that you're doing. It's time for some discernment, to think about it and maybe talk about it with somebody. How are you feeling about your career path? That will help you work out the problems that you are clearly facing. Does that make sense? Okay, friends. So those are 3 readings, right? We did the 3-card spread and we added an advice card to it. We did a 5-card spread and we added timing. And now we did a 9-card spread and we added some advice to it. There we are. If you'd like to see me do other spreads with playing cards, if you'd like to see me do the 9-card spread in other ways, like looking for a significator card, looking for the actual significator for the person being read, pulling a card pulling the 8th card in the deck and laying out the spread. If you want to see any of those things, let me know in the comments below and I will accommodate you. If you would like to get a private reading from me, the QR code for my online tarot reading shop will appear in just a moment, and the address to my website will appear in just a moment. Let me know. You can also send me an email. You can also let me know in the comments below. I want a reading. I want a reading with tarot, with Lenormand, with playing cards. Pick your poison. Okay, friends, thank you. Thank you very much for coming on this journey with me through playing cards and learning with me. And now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.